I'm Fiona Spargo-Mabbs, and I'm the director and founder of the Daniel Spargo-Mabbs Foundation, which is a drug and alcohol education charity that I founded 6 years ago when my younger son Dan died. He was 16, he took some MDMA, and unfortunately he didn't get to come home again. And we started the charity because we wanted to make sure we were doing everything we could to stop any harm happening to anybody else's child, because it's just so unnecessary. As a small charity in the face of coronavirus, we're adapting what we do to make sure we can keep delivering drug education to young people and making sure we're in a strong position to be ready to go out and about again as soon as we possibly can. But the reason I'm pitching is because we really want to take the play that tells Dan's story to Edinburgh. We started the charity because when Dan died, we realised an awful lot of things. One was, if somebody like Dan can get caught up in something that can go quite so badly wrong, then anybody can. Drugs are so much more available, accessible, affordable, and just not a big deal to young people in a way that they used to be in my young day. We also realised that most schools are really struggling to do drug education, and so young people are facing decisions about drugs on an increasingly regular basis as they get older without being well armed enough to make those choices safely. Unfortunately, the need for what we've been doing has grown over the last 6 years that we've been doing it. The most recent government data shows that 38% of 15-year-olds said that they had tried illegal drugs. 4 years ago, that was 24%. In 2018, 38% of 11 to 15-year-olds said they had not had a drug education lesson in the last year. All the data is going in the wrong direction. But the good news is there's lots that can be done, and that's what we've been really busy doing through our drug education programme over the last 6 years, resourcing young people, resourcing their teachers, their parents and carers in every which way we can. And everything we do is offered free to state schools because budgets are so tight, and we don't ever want costs to be a barrier to us being able to work with young people. And just in this last academic year, we spoke to around 27,000 young people at well over 400 workshops. Nearly 10,000 students had our drug education lessons. Around 1,800 parents and carers came to drugs awareness sessions, and our work has just grown and grown and grown, almost entirely through word of mouth and recommendation, from our little kitchen table in Croydon right across the UK, and we're now working with around 400 schools, colleges, community organisations. We've been evaluating what we do from the start. It's always been so important to know that what we're doing is effective, not only through our own internal evaluations, but through being associate members of the University of Middlesex, where the Drug and Alcohol Research Centre is based. And a core part of what we do is the play, and that's what I'm here for now. We commissioned award-winning playwright Mark Wheeler to write a play about Dan. Two of Mark Wheeler's plays are GCSE drama set texts, and Mark has written just this incredibly powerful play about Dan that has a way of engaging young people and getting into their heads and hearts like nothing else. It's a verbatim play, and one of the things that young people tell us is so powerful about it is that every single word in the play is the actual word that was spoken by one of Dan's friends or one of his family members. It's a true story, and it's a story that could be anyone's story. That play was published by Bloomsbury 3 years ago, which is amazing. All over the world, young people are studying and performing Dan's play. We also wanted his play, though, to be a part of our drug education work. And so we commissioned Mark to adapt it to tour. So he shortened it to fit into school timetables. He's did it for a touring company of 4 actors. And it's just finished a little bit earlier than planned, thanks to coronavirus. Its 4th professional tour of London schools. Performances are followed by interactive drug and education workshops. It's a theatre and education production. And at this stage, it should have reached nearly 55,000 young people. We really want to take that play to Scotland, where the drug death data is just huge. It's the biggest in Europe, the biggest on record, and the harm that drugs are doing is so significant. We know what we do works in London and across England, and we want to scale that up and adapt it to fit the Scottish curriculum and the Scottish context. So we've commissioned a theatre and education company to produce a special production of the tour for Scotland. We've begun some work there already, which has shown that there's a real appetite and a real hunger. We've got some really strong partnerships going in Scotland already, and we know that what we do can and will work there. And the play tour will be a really key part of launching our work in Scotland. It's It's one of the most powerful things we do. It's also one of the most expensive things we do, which is why we need your help. £8,000 will plug the funding gap that we've currently got to enable us to take that to Scotland free of charge to schools. Anything over the 8,000 would be amazing, because there's so much more we can do and there's so much more we need to do. The play is really just the start, and what I want to leave you with is some words that open and close the play, and they're words that Tim and I wrote on the first anniversary of Dan's death. We wrote these, put together these little cards and a sycamore seed and gave them to everybody that came to a special little service that we had. This sycamore seed is from the tree that overshadows Dan's grave. Our prayer is that through our words and through the foundation that works in his name, the story of Dan will journey far and wide, just as the spinning sycamore seed does, and that where it lands, it will bear much fruit, growing many good things from this very bad thing. And we'd like to ask you to join us in doing that and spreading those sycamore seeds so much further, all the way to Scotland. So thank you. Okay, so what makes the Daniel Spargo-Mabbs Foundation unique? First and foremost is Dan, who's the face and name of the charity. Dan was incredibly popular in life. Everybody loved Dan. You couldn't help yourself. He was prom king at the end of year 11. And he keeps on engaging his peers with his story because he's so lovely and big-hearted and so much fun. And he could be one of them. He could be one of their friends. I could be their mum. Stories can be so powerful and they stick in people's heads like nothing else. And then other useful things will stick onto them, some of the information we're giving, some of the stuff that they've learnt. And it just gives it a relevance and a context. We're also unique because there's no other organisation that's got this multi-component approach that we have. Drug education that's evidence-based and evaluated and which comes from so many different directions. We're delivering workshops to students, we're training their teachers, we're providing planning resources so teachers can deliver really effective evidence-based drug education to their students throughout secondary school. We're working with parents and carers. We've got a youth ambassadors programme for older teens, and of course we've got the play. And it means that what we do is flexible to fit into the very different ways that schools organise their timetables and planning, and so that schools can make what we do work for them. No one approach will work for everybody. There is sadly no silver bullet. But if we can come at it every which way, then we stand the best possible chance of making a difference and keeping them safe, which is what matters to us so much. How is coronavirus affecting us? Well, all our delivery in schools is cancelled until further notice. The play tour was cut short. Thankfully, we only lost about 20 performances on our London tour out of about 100. So it could have been so much worse. The play tour in Scotland was planned for June, and that is now unfortunately going to have to be postponed to the autumn, but hopefully no later than that, and we've already got solid plans in place. We're working really hard, like everyone else, to carry on doing what we're doing, but just differently. So we're developing drug education modules for different year groups that teachers can send out to their students to do at home. We're looking into setting up online workshops for parents. We're going to be doing some podcasts and blogging, using our website and social media to carry on putting information and drug education and advice out to people. But although we're only a small charity, we do still have 3 salaries to pay, and we're inevitably going to lose income from donations and fundraising activities that would have been taking place. Income from independent schools who we do charge, are asked to pay anyway, for the work that we do, and other funding opportunities that come along just from being out and about. So that will be a challenge for us. But we're well established and strong enough to survive this, and we are totally committed to making sure that we do, because it's just too important. Thank you.
Hello everyone. Difficult times for many of us, but the DSM Foundation was continuing to do great work, although at present, of course, everything comes to a grinding halt. But hopefully that will soon change. I've seen the play they put on as a centrepiece and will be taking to Scotland, and it is remarkable. When you see 200 rowdy sixth formers in a small room, and then at the end of this play they leave in silence, talking quietly about what they've seen, it can make a real change. I think this is something we really should get behind and support, and with money we can do that. So I encourage you to support this tonight. I will start the donations with a pledge of £500. Join me, let's make this work. Thank you.